Right then, today we're going to be looking at Manchester United's summer transfers. Around £250 million is reportedly set to be spent by Manchester United. We've also got a latest on Lisandro Martinez. His return from his injury, a date has been plotted for that return. And also, Erik ten Hag's future is on the line. We will get into all of that. Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe. This is the news. We're here at Old Trafford. It is disgusting. It is rainy, it is windy, it is a little bit cold, but we have got some good news coming up later on, potentially about Lisandro Martinez. I say potentially because it's a bit of a double-edged sword, this one. We'll get into that. But before that, let's have a look at a few transfers then. And this is coming from the Express, but it's also coming out of the Independent and a couple of other sources as well of Manchester United's summer spending spree. Now, we're starting to see the names being put together for this potential spree here. And the first one to look at is Everton's Jarrad Branthwaite. He's a young 21-year-old centre-back, very highly rated, very highly regarded, and someone that, like I said, multiple sources now are saying that United are definitely interested in the summer. Now, in one article in the Express, they're talking about him being a potential swap, not necessarily with Everton, but United letting Lisandro Martinez leave to bring in Jarrad Branthwaite. To me, that absolutely stinks of. Martinez has been in the news recently because of his injury. Let's get him in the title so that more people click on it because they're searching for Lisandro Martinez. I don't think, personally, Martinez is going anywhere. We saw those games when he came back, how much of a difference he makes. He is a world-class player as far as I'm concerned. And to me, an injury where you push off your foot and you break your metatarsal and someone falling on your knee, those two injuries, which is basically all he's had at United, that doesn't constitute an injury-prone player. I'm not worried about him being injury-prone. If he was constantly having hamstring, calf, muscle strains, this, that and the other, that's one thing. But these are two sort of almost freak injuries that I don't expect will be a problem for him long-term about, oh, he's never fit. He hasn't been so far. He's missed good chunks of the season. But look at the injuries that actually happened. They aren't symptomatic of a bloke whose body's failing him, as far as I'm concerned. But that's a massive one, this Jarrad Branthwaite deal. Now, he's a very young player, big, physical player, but also very good on the ball, sort of that modern kind of hybrid player that we seem to be seeing a lot of. I know Mickey van der Ven isn't particularly a big player, but he's very athletic and quick and strong and very good on the ball. Obviously done very well for Tottenham this season. These are the next generation of centre-backs. You know, you think back sort of a generation ago, the likes of, you know, Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic, they grew up watching defenders in the 80s play. That's who their idols were when they were kids. Now you're looking at these 21-year-old centre-backs coming through, 22-year-olds. They grew up watching the likes of Martinez and Piqué and Sergio Ramos and these defenders, Daley Blind even, who can play out from the back. That's who their sort of idols are. I mean, I'm sticking Daley Blind in there, but I think he's got to be someone's idol, hasn't he? But this is what I mean. We're seeing these youngsters who have been playing and wanting to play like that since they were 6, 7, 8 years old. The generation before kind of had to learn it as they were adults, and I think we're going to see a new era of fast, quick, aggressive, strong centre-backs who are also very, very good on the ball, and it looks as though Jarrad Branthwaite could be ticking that box for Manchester United. Now, also in that same Express article, there's mention of two further players for Manchester United. The first one is a potential Casemiro to leave the club and to be replaced by Joao Neves. Now, Joao Neves is a young central midfielder out of Benfica. If you look at his numbers online, they are exceptional. He can do everything. His passing, his defensive work, his goal scoring, everything you want from a player. His numbers are absolutely fantastic. He's obviously very young. But the thing is, I think Benfica have almost got this, like, do you know when you go to like the Apple store? Yes, you're paying a bit more for it, but you know it's going to be brushed aluminium. You know the buttons aren't going to break after 2 weeks. You know the charger has got like a little magnet in it so that if someone trips over it, it just comes out. It doesn't rip your laptop across the room. That's Benfica. Yes, they're going to sell their best players for 100 million quid, but when they do, you know you're getting a Ruben Diaz, a Joao Cancelo, a Nemanja Matic. Like, they have very good players, and yes, they sell for a premium. Even Enzo Fernandez, I know he's not been quite at it for Chelsea, but they sell players for a lot of money, and typically, Di Maria, another one. What a player he's been for the last 15 years, except at United. You're getting a good player, and they almost have this reputation where if they say Joao Neves he's hot, then you probably think he's hot. He's one that United are absolutely looking at this summer. And the final name mentioned in this potential £250 million spending spree, which seems a lot to me, but we'll see, is Michael Olise from Crystal Palace. Young winger, French. We know him. We've seen him in the Premier League. We know he's very good. He's weird. He's had sort of one very good assisting season where I think he got 10 assists, and then he's had one sort of better goal scoring season where he's had 7 or 8 goals, but he's never quite put it together to be in that kind of 15 goal, 15 assist player. And if you think of who he's replacing at United, we tried to get Jadon Sancho to do that job, where you look what he did at Dortmund, it'd be 15, 16 goals, 15, 16 assists. You look over the other side, I know it's not been the same this season so far, but Marcus Rashford last season, 30 goals, 10 assists. These are the sorts of numbers that you need to be capable of for a team to be at the very, very top. You look, hate to use them as an example, but a couple of years ago when Liverpool had Mane on one side and Salah on the other, and Salah was the one doing the big numbers, but Mane was getting 15, 20 goals, 10 assists. You have to have more than one person doing that, and at United at the minute it's either Bruno, and then another season it's Rashford, and then another season Eriksen gets a few assists, and then at the start of the year McTominay. We need a team where people can reliably get these sorts of numbers year in, year out. And whether Olise is that guy, that's a big question mark. But he looks as though that he's someone that United are interested in. Let me know what you think to Olise. I'm very much on the fence with him. Some signings that you get that instinctive, yes, get him in. He's the guy for me. Olise, I think he could easily, for my money, come in and just sort of be a slightly better Anthony. I don't know. Maybe I'm being slightly pessimistic there. Give me your thoughts in the comments below. Let's move on as well to Lisandro Martinez. I said this one's a bit of a double-edged sword. I'm sure a lot of you will have seen the news last night that it turns out it isn't an ACL tear. It isn't that sort of worst-case 10 to 12-month scenario. Instead, we are looking at a sprain on the inside of his knee, which is going to be leading him to be out for around 8 weeks. They're saying a minimum of 8 weeks, which is obviously and obviously bad, but I thought it was going to be 8 months. I thought the word month would definitely be very heavily being used surrounding Lisandro Martinez, and instead, coming back in at the start of April doesn't sound too bad to me. He's also taken to Twitter to express his sort of admiration for the fans and the support that he's been given, and also saying how he's going to come back stronger than ever, which you would expect nothing less from not just any player, but certainly Lisandro Martinez, with the fight and the fire that you see from him as a player. He's a fantastic player for Manchester United. We saw just for those 4 games, and it's almost like, I don't even know, no, come back, we only just got you back. Those 4 games, his composure, his passing ability, his ability to play through the lines, to carry the ball through the lines, and just defensively, to me, he looked a lot better in this return than he did at the start of the season, where we obviously now know that injury was still plaguing his foot. He just looks like an exceptional player, and United are so much different and so much better when he's there. So the faster he can recover, the faster he is back on the pitch, the better for Manchester United. But luckily, it isn't going to be a season-ending, we'll see you next February type injury. It looks as though it's just a sprain, which is, for me, I'll take it at this point. Right, that's going to be all from us. We'll be back later on. We've got Uncensored coming out later, and we'll also be hearing from Stephen Howson as well, who he is chewing out this week. He's got a bone to pick with someone, hasn't he? We know that much. Who is it going to be? Let's find out later on with Howson versus. This has been the Stretford Paddock News here at Old Trafford. We'll see you in a bit.